This is Knock Issue 2 that has just been released after a successful Kickstarter, and it is a treasure trove of OSR D&D stuff you can read out of interest or put in your game right away. I'm not going through the whole book, I'm just showing my highlights, but as you can see, there are many highlights in here. Let's get started. My first highlight is, again, the slipcase, which contains a complete adventure, Gloomy Wood, which is a hex crawl with descriptions of a great many characters and locations and random encounters and weather and everything you need to get started. Probably have to invest a bit of time to flesh out these adventure locations. This is a very good place to start. Also, we've got the Bookmark, which contains a set of paper miniatures complete with stats. So just cut them out and put them on your table. Nifty idea. My first bookmark here is advice for the DM. I have done videos on this in the past, but if you're running an OSR game, this is a good reminder, at least. Meaningful choices. Choices are only meaningful if there's no clear right choice. You have to give them information so they can make these choices and so on. But they also got advice for the players here, how to succeed, how to play these kinds of games. So nice little combo. My next bookmark is Playing Dice with Death. These are rules that when your character dies and you make a new one, you can roll a set of 2d6 and get extra levels as long as you don't roll the same numbers twice. But even if you do, your next character will start with some boon from this list. And I kinda like the idea that you get something for your next character. So it's not all bad if the old character dies, there's something to be looking forward to. Next bookmark, Landmark Hidden Seek. This is about information and conveying information to the players in a game. This categorizes information into three categories. Landmark location. Landmark information is something you can see from afar, like a huge door or even a small door. Hidden information is something your characters will see when he searches for it. Like when you go up to that giant door, you will see there's a combination lock or something. And secret information is something that usually requires a roll to obtain. And thinking about information like this helps to streamline your game and cut down on useless perception checks. Just give the players all the landmark information and give them the hidden information if they are looking in the right spot, and only have them roll for something that is really secret, really special, and that you can do without the players knowing. If it is important for the continuing of the adventure, don't have them roll, just give them the information. Monstrous modifiers is a collection of just what it says. It's modifiers you can put onto any monsters to make it a little bit more special. In praise of vanilla fantasy. There's a little essay and it makes the point that you need the classic, the standard, the vanilla fantasy in order to appreciate the more weird and more exotic OSR stuff that is out there. And makes the point that we can be thankful for Wizards of the Coast for putting out that vanilla stuff, so we OSR authors don't have to. Generally agree with that point, even in ice cream. And I want to add, vanilla ice cream makes a good base to spice it up with something else, like freshly cut fruit or chocolate chips or a bit of brandy. So you can use your classic fantasy and then put in spicy bits in there to make it a bit more special. So maybe you are in a medieval fantasy world, but they are invaded by lizard alien people or something. I also get the feeling that Wizards of the Coast is themselves moving away from this vanilla fantasy. When I look at the new D&D releases, it gets pretty strange. But my perception could be skewed a bit because we are currently playing Descent into Avernus. This is a very unvanilla adventure. Combat objectives. This gives you some random tables to give your opponents objectives, so they are not just trying to kill the players. Some will, but especially intelligent creatures usually have another goal. They are defending something, they want to steal something, and they can fight to reach that goal, and once they have reached that goal, they can retreat, run away. So combat is not just the reduction of each other's hit point until 0, but something with a bit of story behind it. Good little tables to roll on, or just something to keep in mind. What's with my sword? This idea is that when you find a magic artifact, you don't know what it is all at once. And as you keep it, as you use it, as you find out more about it, the more powerful it becomes. So you find it and it's just a fancy orichalcum sword +1, but later you learn that it's actually an Atlantean orichalcum sword. So now it becomes +2 because you're more familiar with the weapon, you know more of the great legend behind it. And then finally, later in the campaign, you find out it's the orichalcum sword of the king of Atlantis. So now it's a really special, powerful weapon +3. And I find that idea very neat. You would have to get rid of the identify spell, but really that is a very, very lazy spell. It would be more fun, I think, if the characters actually had to put effort into finding out what these magic artifacts are and what they do. So these artifacts are woven into the background of your world, and it should be fascinating for the PCs to find out what these artifacts are all about. and not just hand them over a card with the stats of their shiny new sword. I like the idea. So you wanted to build a dungeon. Here's very great advice for dungeon building. Most comprehensive I have seen so far. And they ram the major points of dungeon building home, so you don't make very generic, choiceless and boring dungeons, but something meaningful, something special that will be fun to play. This essay here, Is to Take the Wheel, is about letting go as a GM, letting go of the responsibility for the story and embrace the randomness of the OSR, the joy of using random table, rolling in the open, and just not preparing as much, not thinking as much, not putting that much pressure on you as a GM that you are responsible for everything, for the fun, for the story, for the outcome, for the preparation. No, especially in OSR, you can put a lot of that responsibility on random rolls and the dice, which make it a really relaxing thing to GM, in my opinion. And here in the middle part, we've got some maps, monsters, and here we've got a number of classes compatible with basic D&D. And this one's my favorite of them. The first one, the most down-to-earth one, the errant friar. So a wandering monk. He was sworn oath of poverty, so he will give all the treasure and stuff he finds away. And as he levels up, he somewhat relaxes this oath and can keep more of the treasure and use more weapons and armor. And it's a nice spin on a cleric. If you're playing in a medieval fantasy world, maybe even in a historic setting, this is a character that would be very common wandering around the land, preaching the good word. And also I like how this is like an amalgamation of the D&D monk and an actual historical monk. Got some more classes in here, they get more strange. This one looks interesting, but it's hard to read. And in the end, you've got several small adventures, hex crawls, dungeon crawls, and so on, completing the book. Even on this back page, I've got some random tables for pacts with a devil, the devil. So Nog issue 2. Lots of OSR goodness to find in here. Thanks for watching and goodbye.